Happy hashtag Cold Beer Sunday. Happy hashtag that big game. Welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. This is Sean.
I'm Janice.
And I'm just going to tell you I've had lots of coffee and protein and stuff this morning. So
Yes.
I'm going to be all kinds of nice.
Yay.
It is the Super of Sundays with bowls of footballness happening today. So
we can't say that word all together.
Actually, we can say the word Super Bowl as long as we're not like advertising, like trying to do advertising and stuff with it. So
okay. All right.
come at me, NFL. I dare you. I'm going to say Super Bowl because I'm actually going to enjoy your game.
And if you sue us, you'll get tens of dollars.
We'll give you like half of my pops so I can get some new ones.
Which ones would you get rid of?
Well, shit. All right. I have some grandchildren we can trade.
Hey.
We want to ask you to subscribe to the channel while you're here. And you listen to us for a minute and a half already. Listen to me mumble on. So please subscribe to the channel for more entertaining news and information like this. This is our TV show called TV Time. Also subscribe and follow us. Help us out on Patreon. We got some cool stuff coming. We have a goal right now, so help us with the goal. So let's get into it. We have we didn't do a show last week because we weren't in town, and there's been this like kind of a slow the build up for news is starting to get more and more and stuff.
Right. Well, the TV generally takes time off during the superness of bullness season.
Yeah.
Football season. So
yeah, from like November through to like 1st of February kind of thing. So we're gonna start with actually stuff that actually is important to us here in the Arizona Phoenix area. Our Comic-Con, they don't call it Comic-Con anymore because San Diego. It's now called Phoenix Fan Fusion, and they announced two characters that we love and adore are coming from the Doctor Who universe, and we're getting John Borman, our spirit animal, who's right there, right there, and all of the pops over my shoulder here. Those all Borman. He's coming. We're super excited. There might be a cosplay thing that I might be working on that we could break the internet with.
Right.
And Donna Noble has left the library. Catherine Tate is coming, which I don't think she's ever been here.
I don't think so. I don't remember her ever being here. So Dr. Donna and Captain Jack.
Yeah, so we're super excited. I wouldn't be, though they've been doing a big push for Doctor Who.
Yeah, so they might not be done.
Done.
That would be exciting.
I would like to see Matt Smith. She said Jodie Whittaker. We're going to selfishly say both.
Yeah, I think we'll be lucky to get a doctor.
A doctor. That'll be awesome. Even if Colin Baker or Tom Baker want to come.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
I don't know. How often do the other doctors...
I know. I think it's Tom Baker who's going to be at Gallifrey 1, the Doctor Who convention.
Okay. Well, that makes sense because it's a Doctor Who convention.
Yeah. And he doesn't do a ton of travel. And Tennant was just here for Ace.
Right.
So that kind of eliminates him coming for that.
Probably, yeah.
But fingers crossed, Capaldi would be amazing too, but
yeah.
I'm not holding my breath on that. So last weekend when we did get home, we did watch the premiere of Deadly Class on Sci-Fi.
Yep.
And this is a comic book adaptation. And that we're kind of interested in Hogwarts for Killers.
Yes.
With Benedict Wong. You have my attention.
Yes. So it was I need to see more before.
Okay.
I'm not sure how I feel.
That's fair.
It was good. It was a little CWE, a little Vampire Diaries.
Even though it's on Sci-Fi, but
Supernatural. No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like that kind of teenage angst, which obviously it's about a bunch of teens, but premieres tend to be very distant from what the series actually ends up being, so I'm reserving judgment.
I would like to watch the second episode, which is out, and the third one I think will be out by the time like early next week. So we don't have Sci-Fi channel itself. Oh yes, we do. it's CW in history that we don't have. So we have to do the apps. So we have to wait a couple of days for it to come on and stuff.
Right.
And so
Right.
it was good. I liked it. I liked the general idea about it. Benedict Wong beating up a girl in class in like the first 5 minutes was amazing.
Well, beat up. He smacked her in the nose with a stick
and broke her nose, and she was bleeding and stuff. But that one, I mean, it's got potential on doing some stuff.
Yeah.
And I agree with the way it's set up, and the music and stuff is really cool. The comic book creator is actually the showrunner, which is really kind of cool.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So he's already said we're kind of going in a different direction than I did in the comic, because I've expanded.
Told that story
I've told
already.
Well,
yeah.
he's also said that I've had more ideas on how to tell that story differently now, and so they're
Okay.
kind of moving that way forward.
Okay.
But the click system and all that kind of stuff might wear me down a little bit, and so
right.
it's
it's like was it the Class, the one they did, the Doctor Who
spinoff, yeah.
Yeah, and we're pretty far removed from our high school days, so it gets a little, like I said, teenage angsty, but with a super dark edge, right?
Yeah,
so that
so I kind
maybe
of
has potential to.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a few more episodes, and then we're
Yep.
rewatching Game of Thrones right now, so we don't have
Yeah.
time for anything. It came out from HN Entertainment, which I went and looked at their page, and they're not like a super well known group, but they have some. It looks like they're pretty legit.
Okay.
There's some stuff that come from different websites and stuff like that where I questioned it, but this one seemed okay, so I tracked it down a little bit. There's rumors that the Starship Troopers is getting a television pilot, at least, or whatever, with the original cast of Casper Von Dien and Jake Busey and Denise Richards and Diane
Wait a minute.
Mayer and stuff like that. Yeah, so they're gonna pretty much pick up from the movie and go and at least tell the story as
That was like 20 years ago.
Yes.
They're all much older.
Yeah, so dude, I don't know how it's going to work. The guy who did the original movie, Ed Newmayer, this right here.
New mayor.
Mayor, has got an idea about doing stuff with the original cast and has a story that he wants to tell. Now, he has been directly involved in all the other sequels.
Okay.
And a couple of those sequels are really bad. Like,
Yes.
not even, like, watchable bad. But the new
Yes.
one they just did, that was 3D animation that we watched.
Oh, yeah.
That one was actually really well done.
Right.
And the animation was cool.
Right. But again, I mean, they can come in and voice their characters, but it's animation, so they can keep them. I don't know how they think. I question the validity of this just because I don't. How are they gonna come bring? If anybody's seen Casper Von Dien lately,
he's been better. Like, there was a time in there where he had gotten really old.
Yeah,
and
maybe something was going on in his life, but I mean,
he's gotten married recently. He got married recently and stuff. And
okay,
so, yeah.
But Busey, not Gary, Jake Busey,
not Bluke.
Not Luke
Bluke.
Bluesy. Bluke. Bluesy.
The young one, he's like 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Bluke Bluesy. Anyway, he's aging kind of like his dad.
Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I don't care. You don't. I'm not one of those people that feels like you need to have plastic surgery to remain in the showbiz, but you can't reasonably pick up.
I think a cool story would be all of them later on and in the upper, like they're the old guard now.
But they've told that story in
the movies.
One we just
and so I'm wondering how they would do it in the TV side. Now they have talked about doing a full-on remake on the big screen, but it just hasn't gotten any traction. I love the first one. It's not the book. I've also read the book. The book is very hard to do as a movie or a television. It would make more sense as a television story, but the problem with it too is it's like a diary, single person talking about being in the Corps. And so
you could do it with some voiceover stuff. I think I'd rather see that. I'd rather see them do more of a closer adaptation. It was a series of books, right?
I've only yes, I believe so, but I've only read the first one.
So I'd rather see them do a TV series on a more close adaptation of the books.
And I'm wondering if the retelling of essentially propaganda, which is what a lot of what that movie is about, is propaganda,
which is very timely.
So I'm wondering how that would sit with today's audiences and stuff. So I like the practical effects in that movie. I love that they used those outfits for the mobile infantry in Firefly. It's like, Circle of Life. But I have some interest, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm okay with this, letting it sit and lie and tell a different story, actually put some time and stuff into it. Okay, now my wife is going to do all kinds of happy dance. It was announced on Wednesday that Stephen King's post-apocalyptic epic, The Stand, is straight to series 10-episode pickup has happened to CBS All Access.
Guess we're getting CBS All Access.
Yes. Well, so the guy who has been behind this the entire time is Josh Boone. And he has been trying to do a movie version of The Stand for a while.
Right.
And it's been in a couple of different hands, Warner Brothers and whatever, around. And so they finally came and he gave this pitch about doing the book as a series instead of a series of movies. And there was a bidding war, and CBS All Access won.
Right. So, very timely, because I am currently re-listening. I've read the book, I don't even know how many times, and I've listened to the audio book 4 or 5 times, and I'm listening to it again currently, and was thinking several times that they need to redo this. A, they need to redo this. 2, they need to update it, because the first version was 79, 80 was when the Captain Trips, the flu that killed everybody, that when that happened. So there's
spoilers.
This book's been out for like 40 years, 30 years, whatever. And so there's pop culture reference, and because life as they knew it is no longer the same, right? So they talk about, I miss, whatever,
Happy Days or whatever.
Yeah. There's a retelling, sort of. It's kind of an extended version that they used for the audiobook, where there's some more backstory on a couple of characters, and King went in and updated it. So now there's like a reference to a pager. There's references to video. I wish I had videotape, on VHS, right. Blockbuster, whatever. But there are so many things that have changed. Like, I was thinking about it, like, I think we'd be screwed now, today, because they still had things like washboards and some water pumps and like
hand pumps and stuff like that.
Hand pumps, and people still rural people still had that stuff, outhouses and stuff. You can't go to a gas station and buy a map.
Right.
We'd all be like, I don't know how to get across the country because my phone doesn't work anymore.
I do, but I am MapQuest.
You are. And then there's other things like they struggled to find clean water and they have to boil it all the time. And today there's millions of flats of water. That wouldn't be an issue for us, right? So I just thought it would be cool to retell this. So they're going to do this 10 episode. I don't think it's enough. There's 7 sections to the audiobook. Each one's 10 hours long.
Yeah,
that's 10 hours
that's
if they do
10
an
hours
hour
of each, an hour for each one. How long was the one with Gary Sinise, and was it like a 6-part series?
I think it was 6 and maybe 2 hours each.
Yeah,
it was a mini series.
It was a mini. Well, it was 2 hours of TV time, so it was probably like an hour and 30 minutes.
That's true. Yeah.
Of actual like screen time.
Yeah, that's true.
And with CBS All Access, I believe you won't have commercials if you have this. We don't have that one, so I don't know.
I would assume so. If I'm paying, I don't want to see commercials.
Right,
so
right.
It would be awesome if they decided to do 10 2-hour episodes, because then you could tell. I mean, there's so much story without even delving into. There's some character building that I care less about.
You could spend if you did a 2-hour episode, you could spend 2 hours on just the outbreak.
Just the beginning of the outbreak, and then you've got the outbreak as it's happening, there's so much stuff you don't even think about. Like there's a situation where they have to get out of New York, but the National Guard has blocked everybody in, and now it's almost impossible to physically get out because it's just everything's blocked, even though everybody's dead. So you got that whole thing, and then you got them trying to come together, and then going to Colorado, and the Dark Man being in Vegas, and then the going to him, and then what happens there.
Right.
And I mean,
so there's a lot. It'd have to be hour and a half at least each episode, and break it down into different parts.
Yeah,
they're going to have to put some money into it, especially if they're going to do the big epic fight scene at the end in Vegas, at the plaza, and you have to properly film it across the country. If you can't just like backlot it at Paramount somewhere. You have to be able to go across country and do that. And so they're going to have to put some money into this show, which is fine. I mean, I'm okay with that. But that idea is to do it right, which is what everybody wants. Not that the original TV version that they did, the miniseries, it's not like they didn't do that one well. It's really well done.
Yeah.
But after we got it, and after we get in Pet Sematary, which looks like it's going to be amazing, and Castle Rock, and some of the other stuff that's coming, we now have figured out the formula to do Stephen King adaptations. And if you screw up The Stand, which is his big monster, everybody owns a copy of The Stand book, then you're going to have to, you're going to have to do it right. And if you're going to have to do it right, you're going to have to put money into it.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much the argument against the Gary Sinise Rob Lowe one, is that it wasn't enough, right? It was good for the time. I've gone back and rewatched it.
Late 80s?
Yeah, it's a little tough to watch now, but at the time, as a fan, I was reasonably happy with the adaptation. There just wasn't enough. There wasn't enough of the story. There's there was so much more behind that you could have gotten into without really getting into the weeds.
Yeah. I have one question, however. Do we get Matthew McConaughey as Flag?
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey totally needs to be Randall Flagg.
Because they were trying to do the Gunslinger series as a movie, a series of TV shows, a movie, and using Flagg and Idris Elba as the Gunslinger.
Right.
And have that. So they didn't call him Flagg in the movie, but we all know he's the Dark Man. It's him. He's the Dark Man.
Right. He's kind of a reoccurring character in a few Stephen King books, not all of them, and they call him the Walking Dude, the Dark Man, the Randall Flagg, Richie Finnegan. He's got all these RF names.
It would be cool to have him maybe you have McConaughey introduced in episode 3 and have him in one episode, and something happens and he fakes his death and comes back as a different version.
But that's not in the story.
Well, but what I'm saying is have him come in as like they introduce him as the Dark Man, and then have him, and then he's kind of the Dark Man, but not really.
Then you're changing the story. Why?
Yeah, that's true.
You're completely changing.
Then you
the
have
story.
to get McConaughey. You have to get McConaughey.
Yeah,
because you've already set him up in that universe. If not, then you have to go. You know, I'm trying to think of somebody who could be like super creepy but yet charming in that role.
Yeah, I mean, the way they describe him, the way he describes him in the book, is very Matthew McConaughey. Just, you know, kind of rugged, good looks, sandy brown, blondish hair, rundown cowboy boots, you know, blue jeans, kind of. It's. I don't know.
He might be willing to do it too, because everybody's getting into these big, epic TV shows. Everybody's. Bryan Cranston's coming back to TV too. Yeah. To do something for Showtime, and Julia Roberts went to TV, and like all these.
Yeah. Well, and it's easy for them to do if it's going to be a 10 episode series. It's you do it and you're done. They're not going to have to come back season after season, right?
Yeah.
It would be. I mean, he's in. Like maybe 5 episodes.
Like the final 5 episodes.
No, because he's in the beginning. He's going around collecting.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Guys, so he's in the beginning, but yeah, I mean,
and he's a major character who doesn't have to be on screen all the time. He's kind of like Vader when it comes to that thing. It's more the threat of him being around,
and the talking about him.
You can have him maybe come in and voice over some stuff at certain times or whatever.
But again, it's only 10 episodes, and you know, you're in, you're out, maybe 6-8 weeks.
6-8 weeks or something like that, yeah.
You're in, you're out, and then, well, I mean, I guess it could be more if they do a lot of travel to different locations and stuff, although he mostly stays in the western United States. And he would be a big name as an anchor to the whole thing.
Yes, and that was why I brought up McConaughey, because I think having the name of McConaughey be you know, hey, Matthew McConaughey's in this show, he's playing, you know, Flag, and then you have someone, the mother
Abigail. Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg would be amazing.
Although no, she's 108 years old and she's super thin, and I don't know where we're gonna.
I would actually think, and this was really bad because they're both blind, but and she's not really blind in real life, but the roommates for Deadpool.
Oh yeah,
she'd be a really cool, like, kind of motherly, can kind of be.
But they'd have to age her.
Oh, they aged her up for Deadpool anyways.
Yeah,
so.
They'd have to age her even more.
But but having, you know, like I said, these series are getting big names behind them, and so it would almost be kind of cool if Gary Sinise is in it and Rob Lowe's in it as different characters.
Yeah,
and have them kind of like as a, like maybe Gary Sinise specifically. I think he needs to be in more stuff, but it would just be kind of cool to have him be in it, and just kind of that kind of stuff. So, anyways, we're super excited. I guess we're getting that because Star Trek apparently has been really good on a second season. So both seasons have been really good, and they have another show that's coming, and I cannot remember. Where I was like, oh, damn it, I don't need another freaking streaming service, and we're still waiting for Disney Plus. For fuck's sake. Okay, so we have 2 trailers we want to talk about. One is The Boys. When they announced that Carl Urban signed on to do a comic book adaptation, I'll get that word someday. Not really. I was like, okay, what is this series? And then I heard some people talking about it, and so I actually went and got the first run of the comic, and the picture on the very first comic was the first poster they sent out, and that's that like you're laying on your back and you're looking up to the sky, and all 5 of them are kind of looking down at you and stuff like that, and then it says The Boys. So that's the cover of the first comic. So I was interested in this series because Carl Urban was in it.
Right.
So then I went and read it, and essentially what the series is about is you have the 7, and they're 7 superheroes, a part of a big group of corporate superheroes. There's a organization that kind of keeps them fed, and they have housing, and they you know, use them for advertising and like do all this stuff, and they're sponsors and ships and stuff like that. But they're also kind of a bunch of fake heroes because they're all a bunch of douchebags when they're not in front of the camera and saving people and whatever. There's a lot of consensual and non-consensual sex. There's a lot of homosexuality. There's a lot of drug use, a lot of ultra-violence behind the scenes with the superheroes. And this government agency comes in and actually ends up being like the unofficial enforcers of the superhero piece. So they have to go, they're regular everyday humans who have to go and put the superheroes in their place. And that's what the whole first series is. And they use the F word like 20 times. And like the third page in, somebody's getting raped. The fifth page in, somebody's girlfriend gets annihilated. It's like...
Yeah, he was reading this. He's like, oh my God.
It's amazing. I flipped through the whole thing in like a day. This is going to sound really bad, but that's really fast for me because reading is slow, very slow for me. So I'm super excited about this. And then we saw the trailer, and I just showed it to her again. And the trailer has very little dialogue.
Yep.
A lot of the action, showing Carl Urban a couple times, who's going to play like the main human kind of runner of the group and stuff like that.
That makes sense.
And then they show the superheroes at the end and kind of showing them in their prestige and stuff like that. So you have very little idea if you haven't read the comic about what's going on.
So what channel is this coming to?
Amazon Prime.
Okay, cool. So they can do, I mean, maybe not quite as hardcore because that seems super hardcore. But
I'm expecting, because it's Amazon Prime and not Sci-Fi or something like that, I expect them to go really hard the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
It
seems super hardcore. Like they might pull back a little bit, still keep it. So you get the feeling.
I get the idea that it might be one of those shows where they start off super racy to get conversation going on the show.
That's true.
And then people come to the show and then they realize they just pull back just a little bit kind of thing. Because the subject matter is so dark and twisted and violent and everything else.
This is not your mama's comic book heroes.
Yes, it would have been a super hard R in a movie theater, and they still would have had to pull back as bad as it is, which is fine. Not all comic books are made for kids, and a lot of the comics that I'm reading right now, I'm reading Saga, I read The Boys, I have Why the Last Man, I have all these adult comics telling adult stories and dealing with this stuff, and there's
because as a kid you read comics, so then as an adult you're like, well, I'm a little more mature now, and I want to read a little more mature subject matter, but I still like comics, so it makes sense.
I'm really excited for this series. They said summer, so I'm expecting like around. I actually would not be surprised if they drop it right after San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
They do a push at San Diego Comic-Con in July, and then right after that, they release it or something. That would be really cool. And we're going to San Diego. Sorry, we're going to Phoenix Fan Fest, and then we're going to San Diego, and then we're going to send to the beach for a week. Not that we're going to talk about all superhero stuff, because we're going to talk about all superhero stuff. Okay, now we have to talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a trailer. I'm trying not to cuss because I maybe cussed like 4 times watching. I have watched the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. trailer like 7 times.
He even slow mode, like stop.
Yes, because that dude is getting eaten by crystals.
Yeah.
Or exploding out of him, which creeps me the hell out. Like, bad. Like, I had nightmares kind of thing. However, the whole purpose of last season, if spoilers for last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which was probably their best season.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good season.
All the stuff they did in the future, and then they coming back to Earth, and that whole storyline and everything they did was so good. The end of that story, though, was Coulson and May, because Coulson was dying, was going to Tahiti and letting them live out his last days on the beach.
Yep.
And the trailer starts with Mac being in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. now, what's left of S.H.I.E.L.D., and a hologram of Coulson kind of telling them what to do.
Yep.
And May and everybody kind of being sad that Coulson has finally passed on.
Yep.
And then there's this big, huge, fight scenes and different things going on, and Quake's beating up people, and this guy gets eaten by crystals, and then like other inhuman, superpowered people show up.
Yeah.
And so they're fighting that, and then at the end, motherfucking Coulson turns around and says, "I don't even know what you're talking about. What is S.H.I.E.L.D.?" So are we?
We have some theories. We'll see.
I because they're introducing the Kree Skrull War in Captain Marvel. This will come out after Captain Marvel happens. I think they're going to lean into the Skrulls.
Right. Well, and the Kree were in the first half of last season, because last season was actually only supposed to be that Kree story in the future, and then Inhumans was supposed to be the first half. They were supposed, and then that bombed, and so then they came up with the second part of the season.
And that part of the season might have been just as good or better than the first part of the season.
Yeah. So they had already introduced the Kree, so it makes sense to bring in
the Skrulls
too.
Yeah.
So maybe they saved his essence, his memories, and put him in something else.
I mean, they've killed Coulson off multiple times in the past before, so and they've introduced time travel.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things they did last year. Is they introduced time travel with the monoliths, and they also have introduced the AMDs, not this last season, but the season before.
Right.
And so you have all these like different things that they could
possibilities
of what it could be.
Yeah.
And it's only going to be like a 13-episode season.
And they're still going to go get
Fitz
because they brought that up
yeah,
too.
because of the time travel, Fitz gets cryo-freezed to go into the future because he was stuck in our times, and he had to go to the future the long way, essentially.
Right.
So now they all got back, and now Fitz is out in the
cryo tube floating around out in space,
so
waiting for them in the future to pick him up.
So we have to go. It's so confusing. We have to go into space and get Fitz. Oh, by the way, there's all these Inhumans, powered humans, whatever, mutants, whatever you want to call them. This just came in my mind. Do they call them? The reason they started with the Inhumans was because Sony had the rights to the word mutant, so that's why we had Inhumans. They built up Inhumans to be this thing, and so they spent a whole season introducing Inhumans. That's that season 2 or season 2, where the whole story arc was about Inhumans and making new Inhumans and all that kind of stuff to set up the TV series that was utter horseshit. So I wonder if they actually, because the Disney Fox the merger, Fox merger will be done. Is this how they introduce?
But if Sony owns mutants, that's
no. It's.
You said Sony.
Yeah, it's not Sony. It's Fox.
Okay.
The Fox merger.
Okay.
That's why everybody's super excited, because Fantastic Four and the Mutant and the X-Men get to come back to Marvel.
Right.
So it's.
I don't know.
So I'm just wondering if they mention mutants in there, or it's the Kree Skrull War on TV instead of on the big screen.
It's a mystery. We all have to watch the season in like 8 months.
Right. And we still have Captain Marvel and some game that's ending. Should have stopped the movie right there. So we have one last thing I want to talk about really quick, and that is the CW very early this year re-upped 10 shows. This is very unusual. Usually they wait towards the end of the season, but they actually did. They're all doing. We've talked about this in the past, that CW is excited when they get 3 million views.
Yeah.
On all their shows. Arrow's coming back. Black Lightning's coming back. Black Lightning's actually really good. I got about halfway through the first season and just couldn't, I was watching on my phone and the app sucks and stuff, but it's really good. Legends of Tomorrow, which I'm super happy about. Flash, so the whole Arrowverse, Supergirl, Dynasty. Apparently, Dynasty is good. I don't know. It's not really our kind of show.
I didn't watch it the first time a whole lot. I mean, I watched it a little bit, but yeah. So
it's a younger version of that story, so which is cool. But again, Riverdale got re-upped. That show apparently is killing it. And Supernatural is coming back for the season 186.
So I'm wondering if, because they announced it so early this year, if probably not all, but if some of these shows have cliffhanger endings, so that they have made you aware now that they will be coming back
next year. Yeah, I would not be surprised if that's kind of what they're talking about doing. There's some things that have been said because of the Arrowverse crossover, whatever, and the Crisis on Infinite Earths is coming next year.
Right.
There has been rumors, and CEOs have said something that probably shouldn't have, that we're going to lose major characters at that crossover.
Huh.
So it is now in the comic itself. Barry and what's Supergirl's real name I cannot remember. God damn it! Supergirl and Flash both die, reversing. They kind of hinted at it in this episode. What did they call the crossover? It's right there. Elseworlds. I have the poster. It's right there. The Elseworlds. They kind of hinted at it where they're trying to reverse everything, and they've essentially sacrificed themselves and eviscerate themselves essentially. That happens in Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering but then you have to rewrite all of Flash. You have to rewrite they've already done the Wally West storyline, and Wally West is already a character who doesn't want to be in the series anymore. And are you getting rid of Supergirl? Oh, by the way, I know Stephen Amell is kind of getting done being Arrow, and so you have that happening. Do you have that makes it exciting for next season.
And they've got Black Lightning. They've got the it's Batgirl, but that's not
Batwoman.
Batwoman.
Yeah. You've got the whole Legends cast, which is all, and they keep rotating that cast through,
and they could keep them around. I think it just feels to me like Arrow would go first, and then they would try to kind of rally around another show, because that Arrow seems like it's the big tent pole, and then kind of get another show going, and then get rid of Flash. And I don't know.
It would be cool to. It'd be cool if I know Grant doesn't want to do it forever, and I know Steven doesn't want to do it forever. And
it's hard. It's a hard show. You've got to physically keep in shape.
8 months of your life, and especially if you're the guy on the show,
right?
It's not like he can take a week off and go film a bit part in a movie or whatever. And the one time that Amell did that, he did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as Casey Jones. And he was cool as Casey Jones. The movie was shit. He was cool as Casey Jones, and I know he'd like to be able to do more stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he's also, like he said, he's like, I'm 39 or I'm 38 or whatever. And I'm kind of, I wouldn't have taken this role if I got offered it now.
Right.
And stuff. And so,
and it's all a mystery, right? Because CW has proven that they will run a show for 1 million seasons if they can.
Supernatural. I don't want to be this not counterintuitive.
Counter voice.
With counter voice or whatever. They have a formula, and it works, and people love the show.
Yeah.
And Jared and Jensen love doing the show.
Yeah.
And they've been able to rotate characters in, so they are not always doing stuff.
Right.
Both of them have projects outside of the show, but they are super happy to have that show and milk it and just go with it.
Vampire Diaries too, it went for probably
12 seasons
12
or 13
seasons. It went a long time too. So
they still missed the boat on how to finish that show.
Yeah.
The last shot should have been the boys in Baby coming up over the hill going into the town. That should have been the last scene. Somebody needs to film that and do the fan edit or whatever. But I'm always happy to see that these shows and others are getting picked up early, which means the channel, the production company, everything have faith that they are, like you're saying, they have faith in the forward storytelling. So that is this week in television news. It's a lot more than we probably normally would do, but there's a lot of stuff that we wanted to talk about this week, and we weren't here last week.
Right.
So, and The Stand is coming, so we could do like 45 minutes on just The Stand and casting and stuff like that. So what did you guys think of our discussions of all the things Stand and comic book related, I guess? Let us know, like this video, leave us a comment. Tell us who you think should be cast in The Stand. And are you excited for the boys like I am? Please subscribe to the channel. I've already asked you to do that. Please follow us on Patreon. Support us there. Follow us on all of our social media stuff. It's all in the description below. And until next time, I got to find my mouse. Go Patriots!
No.